Breaking news tonight, the United States is taking major legal steps against former Cuban leader Raúl Castro in connection with one of the most controversial Cold War-era incidents between Washington and Havana. According to multiple U.S. media reports, American officials are moving toward a possible indictment tied to the deadly 1996 shootdown of two civilian aircraft operated by the anti-Castro humanitarian group Brothers to the Rescue. The incident killed 4 Cuban-American activists and sparked international outrage nearly 3 decades ago. Now, the case is back in the spotlight, and it could dramatically increase tensions between the United States and Cuba once again. To understand this developing story, we need to go back to February 24, 1996. That day, 2 unarmed civilian planes belonging to the group Brothers to the Rescue were shot down by Cuban fighter jets near Cuban airspace. The organization was known for flying missions over the Florida Straits searching for Cuban migrants lost at sea. But over time, the group also began dropping anti-Castro leaflets over Cuba, which angered the Cuban government. The attack killed Carlos Costa, Armando Alejandre Jr., Mario de la Pena, Pablo Morales. All 4 victims were Cuban Americans based in Florida. A third aircraft escaped the attack. International investigators later said the planes were unarmed civilian aircraft and that Cuba failed to give sufficient warning before opening fire. According to reports from Reuters and CBS News, the U.S. Department of Justice is now preparing criminal charges connected to the incident. Sources say prosecutors are examining whether senior Cuban officials, including Raúl Castro himself, played a direct role in authorizing or overseeing the military operation. The indictment would still need approval from a federal grand jury. At 94 years old, Raúl Castro remains one of the most influential figures in Cuba's modern political history and the younger brother of revolutionary leader Fidel Castro. This legal move comes during a period of renewed tension between Washington and Havana. The current U.S. administration has taken a tougher position on Cuba, increasing economic pressure and sanctions while demanding political reforms from the Cuban government. Reports also reveal that CIA Director John Ratcliffe recently met Cuban officials to discuss security and economic issues. Analysts say the possible indictment sends a powerful political message that the United States is willing to pursue accountability even decades after an international incident. Cuba has long defended the 1996 shootdown. Cuban officials argued at the time that the aircraft repeatedly violated Cuban airspace and threatened national security. Havana insisted the pilots had been warned before and accused the exile group of intentionally provoking the Cuban government. However, international criticism was severe. The United Nations Security Council condemned the use of weapons against civilian aircraft after the incident. If federal prosecutors formally indict Raúl Castro, the move would become one of the most significant legal actions ever taken by the United States against a former Cuban leader. Legal experts say an actual arrest remains unlikely unless Castro travels outside Cuba to a country willing to cooperate with U.S. authorities. Still, the symbolic impact could be enormous. The case may further damage U.S.-Cuba diplomatic relations, intensify political tensions in Latin America, and energize Cuban exile communities in Florida demanding justice for the victims. Meanwhile, supporters of Cuba's government may view the case as politically motivated and part of Washington's long-running pressure campaign against Havana. Nearly 30 years after the deadly shootdown shocked the world, the search for accountability is once again making international headlines. Whether this indictment moves forward or not, the case has reopened painful memories from one of the darkest chapters in U.S.-Cuba relations. And as Washington increases pressure on Havana, the political fallout from this historic case may only be beginning. For more international updates and breaking U.S. news, stay tuned.